The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
We've arrived. Old Furnace State Park, site of an old New England mill. You know, this seems awfully familiar. Gee, where have I seen this before? You don't say. It's been about 10 years since the first time I came out here and shot a nature video with a much inferior digital camera back then. This time, the camera's a lot better. We're out here today with the Canon SX710 to see what this crossover camera can do for both stills and motion capture for something like this. Will it unseat the camcorders and the soup can cameras for things like this? Who knows? Should have brought the sunglasses. I thought these would have darkened up by now, but I guess there's not enough sunlight. Whatever. Alright, let's see what nice fall foliage there is around here. Last time around, this was a total montage. I tried twice to recreate that wonderful nature video I did in '08. The first time I came here had too much dialogue. I'm hoping this can kind of sort of be in the middle. Looking to see what kind of colors there are out here. I've already passed two couples making out. Didn't know this place had become such a hot destination for dating and stuff. Of course, that's how you know we're out in the woods here. Yeehaw! Let's go out to the middle of the woods and whatever. First sign of the drought. That's a lot quieter than what it usually is. Way quieter. So, things have changed around here. The path has changed, and I probably should have worn a helmet or something because we got acorns coming down in October nonetheless. So the first time I came out here was a fall foliage thing. The next one of these I recorded was a spring foliage thing. There was another one I tried with summer with a 1080p camcorder, but the bitrate didn't do it justice. So we're here today with the point and shoot to give it a little marathon test. Stills and movies, flipping back and forth constantly between the two. I'm also going to change the names of these things. Up to this point, I've referenced the whole New England Pahk the Ka and Havid Yad thing. However, come up with a better name for these things. A little bit sillier when I'm already using it for pictures of fall foliage on Facebook. Yay, leaves. We got a couple of tourists here in New England this time of year, and that's half the reason they come here. Yay, leaves! Because, you know, there's parts of the country that don't have this every fall. They probably have the pumpkin craze, though. Don't even get me started on that. Okay, that's where we usually go. We're taking the alternate route just to see where it goes. We're gonna have some freaking tourists.
Oh, I just want to talk with you among the trees.
Yeah, because people come out here to just do the same stuff they do in the city. It's probably what some of these couples are here, too. Maybe they're from more built-up areas and like, oh, let's make out in the woods. That'll be different. New England has its issues every fall, and the pumpkin spice craze is just one of them. I think think I've been up this way before, but I don't want to be having to constantly wait for those folks to get far enough ahead that I can shoot this stuff. By the way, they are going to be exhausted when they get to that mega steep hill that path leads to. I'm sure I'll be at the summit before they are. Hope they're not mad at me. Oh, this is new. Little footbridge over the mud and stuff like that. Yeah, the lady was over here like, bleep, 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 bleep. Yeah, I don't come here to talk. She's like, oh my goodness, did you see this big tree? I'm like, it's the woods. There's gotta be big trees. I see big trees every day. Ah, tourists. Took an unsanctioned shortcut up the cliff. Shortcuts are not a good thing in general, unless you're trying to get somewhere in a hurry. It applies double to this place. Everything's already been spoiled though. There's at least 2 or 3 couples making out on the cliffside. It's not going to be like the previous couple of times that I've been here. Now we just have to see if anybody's getting drunk. I've seen that before too. Found a hidden cliff. Nowhere near the top. But the tourists have all seen Facebook pictures of the big one. Don't know how many there are of this one. So I'm sure I can hear them from here. They're all having a ball up there. And I'm just a little ways down in the same kind of experience. This is definitely worse than all the other times I've been out here though. More on that later. We're done. And I'm taking the old trail, which leads back to the new trail. So that was completely pointless. Well, for years I've wondered why people complain about leaf peepers. You'll notice there was no footage of the big cliff this time. Took a few stills, but that was about it. I can't believe the people that come all the way out here to just not appreciate being out here in the middle of nowhere. First, you got people smoking up a storm. Cigarettes and pipe tobacco. How the heck a smoker walks up this steep cliff and isn't just at the top is beyond me. Yay. And then there's people screwing around on their smartphones. It'd be one thing if they were taking pictures of the trees, but no, they're just doping around, using up their data plan. Something just doesn't sit right with that with me. You come this far out into the woods to end up doing what you could do in your living room. Never understood that, never will. I probably could head down to the pond to get some magic hour pictures of some really colorful trees. But if I'm going to get some magic hour shots, what I need to do is quit being a lazy ass. Come out here very early in the morning on a weekend. So any of these tourists that might want to sleep in on the weekend won't have hauled their lazy asses out of bed. And things along those lines. That's the only way this is going to work. I come a little out of my way to come here nowadays. So if I'm going to take the extra time to make that extra effort, it's got to be worth it. We can't be having stuff like this going on. That means get out here when all the leaf peepers aren't here, or something. Place is open from sunrise to sunset, so I think this is going to be it for these after work excursions, so to speak. There is a slight absence of leaves around here because of a local infestation of gypsy moths earlier this spring. So some of the leaves that are on here are extra small because they're basically leaf set number 2 after all the gypsy moth caterpillars chowed down on them during the spring. So it's not like there was much potential for colors for this anyways. I do have to give a hat tip to another AV geek who came all the way out here, and he actually had a real camera. DSLR, big gigantic zoom lens and the whole 9 yards. Guy's got some, obviously he's got way more of a budget than I do, but he's definitely got some guts bringing expensive camera equipment, DSLR and whatnot, out way the heck out here where one trip could send it, where one false trip or stumble could send some equipment sailing off the cliff. I think if I take the long way back, the tourists who want to go, "Ooh, look, a cliff and big trees," will probably take the more direct route. So I might actually get some peace and quiet going this way. Unlike those people at the summit that just couldn't shut up. Whatever. By the way, the noise you're hearing is an interstate that's a little too close to this state park. You want to know what noise pollution is? Imagine what this place would be like if you didn't hear cars everywhere you went. That's what struck me about that scenic place up in Massachusetts, up at the Quabbin Reservoir. It's totally silent out there. Unlike, well, however, that noisy highway is what brings this area jobs. That's a discussion that I've seen some towns have out here in the woods. Do they want to keep things peaceful and quiet, or do they want to actually make it so that folks growing up in these towns can actually, you know, get jobs and stuff that don't involve, like, Walmart or... Oh man, that highway. Maybe I'm on the wrong path and I'm getting closer to it. Another reason why I should come out here on the weekend. Won't have commuters roaring up and down that, won't be as loud. I can tell that this path is very roundabout, and it's not the quickest route to the summit because I'm not running into anybody wanting to blah 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 here. Everybody races to the tops of the cliffs, goes, "Ooh, cliffs," and then races back to their cars when they've had enough. This kind of mingling out in the woods, borderline getting lost thing, not exactly what those folks do here. Let's get some shots of the nice blue sky with all the colors of what's left of the leaves. Thanks, gypsy moths! I wonder if that photographer with the DSLR is recording a YouTube video as well. Great minds think alike. He certainly got the equipment for it. If this pathetic point and shoot can do 1080-60, then enough of the AV geek talk. I can tell that this path is kind of sort of going the right way because it's going downhill. Everything is downhill, but this is the least downhill path that I've been on as of yet. That's probably why nobody's on this path. Maybe it doesn't lead back to the parking lot. Of course, what I can do is just zip along like a maniac. If I don't see any signs of going down the darn hill, in the right direction in a couple more paces or so, I can just go backwards all the way back up to where these paths diverged. Or keep going towards the blue until I see cliffside and turn left. This is an easy park if you get lost in it. Oh, wait, trail markers. This one's orange. Yes, I am on the wrong trail. The one I'm looking for should be blue. See that? Wrong way, moron. I can always check the internet when I get back to see where this goes. And I ran into a jogger. Whoops. Guess I fail at trying to find the path that folks aren't going to be coming running by on. Here's what I'll do. If I come back here on a weekend to not be a lazy ass and get here before the leaf peepers do, then I'll check out this orange trail. So, let's just throw things in reverse here and get back to the blue one. I do know my way back there, and I could just book through the brush to take a manual override shortcut. But between ticks and not wanting to step on a hidden hornet's nest, I don't think that would be too good of an idea. It's unseasonably warm right now, so if I did stumble upon said hornet's nest, it would be quite an incident. These paths do converge at some point. Take the one that heads to the cliff and let's call it. Yeah, like this one. Now this is a bit more downhill. This is more like it. I can cheat, of course, by looking off to the side because the pond's over there. Nope, that's not a trail either, but at least there's some pretty leaves on the ground. I'd rather not go blitzing through a bunch of trees and brush and things like that to get back to the real trail, so I'll just find the real trail where there's actual blue markings. There it is. One manual override shortcut, and we're back on an actual real trail. I wonder where the one that I used to take went. Either way, that's more cleared out, so that's the better option. I see blue. Woohoo! Civilization, here I come. I just heard a train. You can hear trains out here too. What is this place these days? A redneck version of Central Park? Get away from it all with the hustle and bustle of everything you got away from, still within earshot. I owe some apologies to some tree hugger types when this is all over. I think we're going to miss magic hour for some of the shots. Definitely for more hiking and seeing where that other trail goes, a weekend morning visit would be a far superior option. Golden Forest. Those of you that have ever played 1080 snowboarding on the Nintendo 64 will get the inside joke here. For those of you wondering why I'm just randomly playing, well, I guess I'm going to add background music to this, why I'm just randomly shooting the camera while walking. You know, the first time I came out here, this was called a walk in the Pahk, but it really wasn't much of a walk. It's more like vlog plus plus. Of course, YouTube had a lot more limits back then. And of course, I had a Kodak 5 megapixel pathetic mid-2000s digital camera. We didn't really have as much of the point and shoots playing ball with the soup can camcorders in those days. It's a very different world nowadays with point and shoots. I can do 1080 60 with a few restrictions. Look at all this. Okay, all you Coldplay fans. That whole, they were all yellow. Well, that's these trees right here. Getting some mosquitoes now, even though it's October. That's why if I do these things, they need to be when it's colder out. Jacket weather is what's best for these sorts of things. Leaves, color, and no bugs. You really can't beat that. Yeah, a weekend visit is in order. To avoid the tourists and the leaf peepers, and to not feel like there's some big game show timer going if I take too long and, hey, no more magic hour, no more colors. We go from autumn fall foliage to Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Shadows descend. There's a couple of reasons why this doesn't seem as familiar as last time. First, the New England drought. So some of these areas that used to have some smushy spots now don't. Plus, some trees have been blown down in some of the windstorms we've had since the last time I came out here, which has been a while. Not since before the move. This isn't exactly on the way home from work anymore. So, but I'm thinking, finally, something familiar. Because there used to be water. Yeah, now it's all filled in with mud. Right. So that's the thing. If I'm going to make the effort to come out here, a weekend is probably a far better option to take for something like this. There's still some sunlight left. We get back to the car and out of here with no problems. But the whole taking pictures of fall foliage and stuff just felt rushed. Looks like I missed the big hill too. The one that probably exhausted all those tourists that tried to blah 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 with me earlier. There is one good thing about all these people for whom Yay Leaves gets its name. These days, if someone hears you randomly talking in the middle of a forest, they'll assume you're on your phone. Gives YouTuber and digital camera types a break. Ooh, look, some colors left because the sun hasn't completely set yet. It's not even peak week either. Some of the unseasonably warm weather has delayed some of the colors. There might even still be some nice colors next week as we start getting closer to Halloween. Well, at least this one was more like a walk than the one 10 years ago. Of course, technology has improved so much since then. Right, now this is getting spooky. Well, this has been a nice test run of the anti-shake on this thing. Okay, so as you can guess, this is the forerunner to the previous two nature videos going up as classics on Dailymotion. Be sure to check that out on the sister channel. Those will be going up shortly after this. Everything should be uploaded by the weekend easily, even if I'm playing ESO in the evenings tomorrow and Friday night. Definitely gotta make at least one weekend trip out here though. It is a lot less humidity. It'll make for far better pictures of the sky and whatnot. And the early morning magic hour is like the evening one, except it goes in the other direction. So it might be worth it to go around the pond first before going up to the cliffs. This old bridge is holding up quite well. I believe it was constructed after Irene or something like that. It's better than the one that was here before. Before, the trail kind of got you stuck on the rocks trying to get across. Ooh, close-up shots. Forgot about those. Let's get a few of those in still form. Oh, no lovebirds making out around here this time. Didn't understand that this afternoon. How did a state park that's nothing but woods and trees become such a hot spot for folks on dates? It's not like you're totally getting away from people and just spending time together. You could have some random hiker, photographer, or someone walking their dog come by at any second. Well, I'm not going to give myself a headache trying to figure that part out. Whatever. Maybe this was the tree that the folks who tried to blip blip with me earlier were going all ooh-ah over. Yeah, it's a big tree. We have big trees out here in Connecticut. I hope that's what you came to see if you're coming out here from the city. Plus, look at all these dead limbs on this thing. Man, almost looks like that ugly tree from Zelda Ocarina of Time. Well, the Deku tree after it dies, that is. What happened to this thing? I didn't think the gypsy moths ate evergreens like this. I'm not about to find out if there's a big colony of hornets or something living inside that thing, but this is what's wowing the tourists. They must be from really out in the concrete jungle. Yes, folks, there are big trees in the woods of Connecticut. You might want to keep that in mind. And us locals, we see them every single day. So it's not this uber amazing thing to see a big tree around here. Yeah, we ain't in Kansas anymore. Actually, we're not in Kansas at all. So, right. When in Rome... Yes, I'm walking fast. This is actually my normal walk speed. Kind of belies the whole being a blubbery fat ass thing that... Well, I finally got proof of this on film. Look at the ground. And I could do this all day. Of course, I am kind of cheating. Everything's downhill. I wasn't exactly doing this when I was taking my unauthorized shortcut up the side of the cliff. Spoke too soon. One of the pairs of lovebirds was actually still there on the way out. So no shot on the way out of that little waterfall in the brook either. Let's get out of here. Well, that's enough hipster tourist rubbish for one afternoon. To the Geek House! No, Geek House! And swift to its close ebbs out life's little day. That was probably more of a walk in the Pahk than the one I did 10 years ago. But it was definitely the worst. The tourists and the people just defeating the purpose of going that far out in the middle of the woods really makes me wonder what things are coming to around here. Although maybe I should just go out on the weekend when some of them are being lazy asses and don't feel like getting out of bed. That's probably the better option. Probably different groups of people there first thing in the morning than getting out of there at sunset. Especially on a day like today where it's unseasonably warm and some people are kind of thrown back into summer mode. Get a little autumn breeze blowing where it was a little bit on the chilly side, and I'll bet any money there'd be a lot less people out there. So I would have had all the colors to myself. Maybe I should go down there one more time, but I won't sweat it if I don't. But the transition from Wahk in the Pahk references to yay leaves is probably going to happen with these fall foliage videos. And maybe I should find some other places to film as well. Either way, back to the geeky stuff here with some ESO or what have you. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by. Now that's more like it.